you know, it was like, oh, everybody could tell then.
That's
you know?
what I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't even know, you know?
I know, yeah. So it's hard to, like, say, because, like, I could risk ruining our relationship by trying to be like, you're not okay.
Right.
Like, do you know? Because I've had that, like, almost happen before.
Right.
Whereas, like, yeah, so it's like people have to realize it on their own. But also, like, I feel like if it's more than one person saying that, then maybe that person is more able to hear it. Do you know? And
especially
recognize
from someone
it.
like on the outside, like how Zoe was, because she could just. It's kind of like, because she's not blood related, but she is family. Yeah. So she could kind of see it from the outside perspective. Yeah. And she could see that, like, it was me, like, focusing on the wrong things. And and then when I got out of the hospital, I was just like, I just want to be a good mom.
Literally, you know? It was like you were a totally different person.
Yeah. And, you know, because I'm in school too. So, like, this whole semester, this is my first semester without my ADHD meds. And it was, like, really scary at first because I was just kind of overwhelmed, you know?
Yeah, of course.
But I got through, like, my hardest classes, you know?
You smashed it. Yeah, literally.
So that really showed me. I'm like, yeah, they had me on crack for, like, years.
That's what I mean. Is, like, ADHD medicine shouldn't feel like speed if you have ADHD. Right. And that's what, like, I find really scary in the States is that they just are so happy. They kept
over-prescribing. Yeah, I was like, I'm having, like, panic attacks, like, every day.
Oh, here's
They're like,
medicine.
oh, well, let's up your Seroquel to, like, 100 milligrams. And I'm like, no.
Fucking knock you out.
You know, yeah, and I'm on, like, 10 milligrams of Lexapro. That's what I've always been used to. And every time I'm like, oh, I keep having panic attacks, they're like, oh, why don't you watch some videos? Have you heard of a Calm app? Or, you know, those. And I'm like, why don't you go for a run? And I'm like, I'm so depressed, I can't get out of bed. So how is that going to help?
No. I was going to ask, like, do you have any coping mechanisms that you've
Not really.
learned? Yeah, no. And now I've realized it's like, if you had gone, for example, to a doctor, instead of them saying, have you heard of the CAM app?
Exactly.
It's like, they're meant to talk you through it.
I've tried so many therapists, and that's why I think the best therapy is talking to friends and just seeing how they cope, or, you know, even though we've you know, I don't like comparing, like, traumas, like, you know, because everyone has been through different things that
can be considered traumatic.
Right. Like, you know, me witnessing my mom die, like, just because it's like really fucked up doesn't mean that, like, my friend Katie, her mom had an aneurysm, and I was like, well, you didn't see her get shot in the head. But then I realized people, you know, they grieve differently. Like, you know, people are stronger than others, or I don't even know, like, what it is. I think it's just the way we deal with things, and the way we react to things. And I think I've always just been kind of, like, chill, laid back. And so, like, for my friend, I was just like, that's what really made me realize that we've all gone through shit, and no matter how fucked up you think your shit is, like, or how little you think that the other person thing is, like, it hurts the same for them.
Yeah. I think it's also the way we grew up, and it took me a long time to realize this because my mom also, because Momo's been through a lot, really fucked up shit. Like, and again, like, it explains a lot of the reasons why she is the way she is, but growing up, it was very much, all I heard was, you've been through nothing. Do you know what I've been through? Right. You don't deserve to cry because I've been through worse. And so I heard this growing up so much to the point that it was like, I didn't think I deserved to grieve. And so I think that's why I one thing, I just had to be away from everyone. But so whenever anything, so like when I got really angry because whenever you were going through this whole, like, you know, leading up to you going to the psych ward, I felt like, you know, this is everything coming to terms. Everyone's was so busy saying, look how well she's doing, look how well she's doing. And then it was like, as soon as you started to not do well, everyone wanted to turn their back on you. And I was like, I'm not there. Somebody needs to support her. And I felt like it's not fair. Like, why do you have to only grieve immediately after? Like, you can grieve years after whenever your brain allows you to process it.
Especially being a mom, you know.
That triggered it for sure. Sure. Like, it would trigger it for me. Like, even, like, so it's like, I was just, really annoyed because everyone's like, it's been like 10 years. Why are you? And I'm just like, it doesn't fucking matter how long it's been.
I realized like, oh, it has been 10 years.
Yeah. This year. Yeah. So at the time it was like 9. Yeah.
No. Because I went this summer. So I was like, oh, it's been a decade. Like,
but still.
This year. I was like, you know, because I was like, because I don't do well around holidays. Because that's when she died, you know, like that's when her birthday is. That's when she died. So I don't do well in winter just because that seasonal depression, but it's really because of the PTSD, you know?
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, but like you said, it's good days and bad days. You know?
And that's what I mean is like, yeah.
But I really appreciate that, you know, you saw that, like, like I wasn't doing good, so people were like, why don't you do better? But it's not that easy.
It's not. You know? And then anytime I would bring it up, I'd be like, because I even said when I called Nolan, and I was like, I think this is everything from Melissa. And he was like, I remember, obviously Nolan was really supportive, really great and everything. And he said something like, oh, my mom died too or something. I was like, yeah, but you weren't fucking there. Right. Like, you weren't. It's totally different. It's a totally different grieving process for you.
Yeah.
And even for Eden, like you would say, because she'll, in the back of her mind, some part will remember that. Because she cried, like, when she was 2 years old. Like, she would have nightmares every night.
Yeah.
Like,
she was a very
like
anxious child. Yeah. Baby.
Yeah.
You know? And
so it's like, but no, I remember whenever you finally got out and I finally got to FaceTime you, I literally cried.
I know.
Because you were just like, all of a sudden you were just like, Nicole, like that. And then to see you, like, finally when I would call you and not like, I wouldn't feel like shit every time we would, like, do you know, because I would just be like, something's not right. I'm not doing enough. I can't, like, do you know what I mean? Like, how do I talk to her without offending her?
And I was like, the first time I saw you cry, I swear.
I was so
in a long time.
Yeah.
Because Melanie likes to hide and cry.
Yeah, I like to go to the bathroom and cry.
Yeah.
That's my crying spot.
Right. And but, I don't mind. But sometimes it's just an overwhelm of emotions and you don't know how to feel. But
100%. But I genuinely, to be able to recognize something's wrong, I'm going to hurt myself, and then be able to say, I need to go and get help is so mature and so self-aware that, like, I'm so fucking proud of you. I am, because I don't fucking care what anyone else thinks. You know that you literally had to help yourself. Like, and that's so much fucking harder than taking the easy way out of just ending it, you know, because then you're just passing on that trauma and sadness to someone else. Because it's too overwhelming. And to say, like, no, I'm actually going to make the decision to work through this shit and grow is, like, amazing. So you should be so proud of yourself. Thanks. You should. And to be able to talk about it, and it's not even, like, been a year. Right. It's literally been, I went in July, maybe? Yeah. And it's nice. Or June? Yeah. And, it was because when I got home, I just wanted to stay home for a while, you know? Yeah. Like, I was like, I'm never going back to that place again. No, thank you. I know. I changed my mind. Please, literally. I'm just kidding. It was a prank. It's a prank, bro. I was so mad when they were keeping me. I could just imagine you freaking out and then being like that, right in your butt. And I was about to fall asleep, and like, I was literally falling asleep, and they were like, we're just gonna give you a little something to calm down. And I'm already, like, falling asleep. And I was just like, jerks. Did you wake up in different clothes, or did you still have your clothes on? No, I woke up I always imagine it. Because I vaguely remember, like, getting to the hospital where I stayed that had the psych ward, and they, like, when I first got there, I was like a bitch. I was like, why would you do this to people? But I was so out of it. Like, it's like bits. It's like when you're blackout like slurring, drunk. Yeah. It's like that. That's how I remember it. And so I had to put on these, like, they're called paper scrubs because like you can't hang yourself with it. It's literally everything. Fall apart. And then another thing at the hospital, you had to keep your door open, at least like a crack, and that was so annoying because, like, when you go to sleep, the light is always on in the hallways, you know?
and then they check on you like every hour.
I wouldn't feel safe. I'd be like, oh my god, no, a creep is gonna come into my room. Like,
well, it was like they kept the girls on one side and the boys on the other side, but like
no, as in like a monster, like like that, like, you know, the irrational fear of like my door's open, something's gonna happen.
But it was hella bright in that hallway. So, but you know, they gave me stuff to help me sleep and all that, and you know, I'm definitely happy I went because I needed that.
Me too.
And they were just like, we can't believe they prescribed you all of this, like this high of it was like Vyvanse and Adderall, both, like
really,
both. And
are
they
you
were both
fucking
high.
kidding me? They're both for ADHD as well. Vyvanse is like a stronger version of Adderall.
Yeah.
And then you shouldn't be on both of them.
Yeah. Because like
That
he
makes
gave me the
so
Adderall
mad.
for when I was coming down from
pharmaceutics.
Vyvanse, because he was like, oh, you could still like lose weight. Basically, he was like, so you don't binge eat, I will give you Adderall for the evening. So I like wasn't sleeping, wasn't eating. Yeah. And
no, this
and
is an
Mama
issue.
was like, oh, like that makes sense. Like, cause you know when you can't sleep, like you
start
literally go
hallucinating,
crazy.
yeah.
So yeah, that's how it was. Yeah.
If I have one day and I don't sleep, I'm a raging bitch the next day. Like, I'm not good if I don't sleep.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't imagine a whole week. See, I didn't know that you weren't sleeping.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because, like, yeah, I didn't, yeah.
Wasn't sleeping, wasn't eating.
Yeah, we weren't talking as much as we would normally do.
Right.
Like, do you know what I mean? Because, one, I was a wee bit scared to FaceTime you and stuff.
Yeah.
Just because I didn't know who would answer. Do you know what I mean? Because it was like some days you were really shaky and some days you were just like on it. Like